If you remember from my scrappy Valentine's Day rolag video, I started making some rolags out of just some scrap pink fiber that I had. I wanted something fun, pink and sparkly to celebrate Valentine's Day. However, what turned into a let's make a set of rolags experiment expanded into potentially a full sweater's worth of yarn. Now, this won't be a full sweater itself. I've got something else in mind to use this with, but some of you said you wanted to see the full process, and today I'd like to share that with you. Hello, you are sitting on my rolag. I know you're trying to be annoying and get attention, but I need that. Okay, so I'm almost done with spinning my Rolags. I've got at least one more batch of Rolags to spin. I did prep 2 more darker shades, but for the project that I have in mind for this, I don't think I'm going to need it. The pattern calls for around 500 or 600 yards of a worsted weight variegated yarn, and I'm at around 500 yards here, so I definitely will hit my target with that. These are averaging, about 80 to 100 yards per hank here. I'm really loving how the color variation's turning out. This was my first one that ended up to be a bit of an Aran weight. The second one ended up being maybe a heavy DK. And then the rest of these are kind of like a light worsted. I've been trying to figure out what to pair with this. So the pattern calls for about 400 or 500 and something yards of each a body and a color. A color plus a body color. I'll explain in a second. Plus a smaller contrasting color. And right now I'm really debating what color combination to use. So the pattern typically shows like a lighter cream color. And, I'm wondering with some of these lighter shades if maybe that's just not contrasty enough. This one I have 1,300 yards of, so I kind of want to save this for a pattern that needs like a sweater's quantity of yarn. So I think I'm just going to call that one out. I also have some fisherman's wool. I don't super love the feel of fisherman wool, but it would be a good comparable to the yarn I'm spinning up. And I feel like it's a little bit brighter white, and that would be a good contrast, I think. I just don't quite have enough of this in this gauge. I have this cone. I'm not entirely sure how much is on this cone, but that would also kind of work with the colors. But I've been debating maybe using some other hand spun. This is a charcoal Romney that I've had in my stash for quite a while, and I think that kind of looks pretty. I do need to figure out what my third contrast would be. So pink, gray, and maybe like a blue, but it needs to contrast enough with this. I might spin it, we'll see. But I am a little short on my Romney, and so I'm thinking about flipping. So the body says it needs 560-ish yards, I think, and the color work 500, but I've got 460 something here, and it's a little bit heavier weight than the pattern calls for. I think my color is pretty spot on, but I can spin more of this if I need it. So what I'm thinking is that I might actually make a smaller size and a larger gauge, if that makes sense, because this Romney is heavy worsted, maybe Aran. And so I think the gauge wise that this might knit up a little bit bigger. So this Romney is one of the first fleeces that I ever purchased and scoured myself. And I would say probably still has some lanolin in it, but I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. So this has about 460-ish yards. And I think if it knits up at a larger gauge, then I can knit a smaller side sweater. And I think I can do that math and figure out what size I can go for. So again, I know I'm being a little bit vague on the sweater pattern, but let me knit up a gauge swatch and see if you guys can start guessing what sweater I'm making. actually started out on some of the lightest colors. The skein that I made in that first video was this one, which ended up to be a little bit bulkier than I was shooting for. I immediately followed it up with another skein. This one ended up a lot lighter in weight than what I was targeting for. In fact, for my project, I might even be holding this one double. I ended up settling into a pretty good rhythm and made the rest of these in quick succession. But well, I say quick succession, but really I picked up and put this project down several times because life happens. So you can see the variegation is fantastic. It goes from lightest to darkest, and I plan on using this in that order in my project. So I shared with you guys earlier some yarns that I was considering using for this project, and I've thrown it all out the window. Here are the two other colors that I plan on using for this project. So this will be my variegated color for the sweater, and this I'm going to plan to spin up for the body of my sweater, and this as my contrast color. I really decided that I liked the white on color. It was what drew me to the project as a whole, so I want to stay true to that and not try to force a yarn onto the project when it's not really what I had dreamed in my vision. I also want this to be 100% of a hand spun sweater. So I'm going to spin this wool. It's a merino, or so I was told, and I got this for free from a holiday party. So I'm excited to spin this up. This is a brown finch sheep that I got from Sage and Willow Farms here in Kitsap County. Fortunately, she has had to close her farm, so I will not be able to get this sheep ever again. But I think I have enough here for my contrasting color. If you guys want to see how I spin these up for the rest of the project, you'll have to stay tuned for a next video in this series. If you guys enjoyed crafting along with me today, I hope you will consider subscribing, leaving a comment down below, or liking this video. I really hope to share more projects like this with you guys in the future, and I love hearing your suggestions and feedback on my video. And until next time, bye.